Hello and thank you for coming to McWaters Effect. I'm your host, Matt. Today we're going to be talking about Joe Biden's infrastructure bill. But first, what I need you to do is hit subscribe and like. Helps the channel grow. Now let's get on with the show. Now yesterday, Biden unveiled his $2.3 trillion infrastructure plan. It's supposed to help build bridges, roads, expand broadband internet access, and funding for research and development, as well as many other things. The infrastructure plan would roughly cost $2.3 trillion over 8 years and would be paid over 15 years by raising the corporate tax rate from 28% to 21%, increasing taxes on corporations' foreign earnings. It would also increase taxes on anyone that's making $400,000 or more. Now, there's some interesting things going on with the $400,000 thing, and it is if it's a joint tax return, and let's say you and your wife made $400,000, you would be taxed. But if y'all do it separately, you wouldn't be, because you would be considered $200,000 a piece. I have a problem with this, extreme problem with it. The first thing, you're $200,000 in certain states isn't that much money. Even $400,000 in certain states isn't that much money. $400,000 in New York, California, isn't that much money. You're middle class in those states. Now, if you come to some place like, I don't know, Mississippi, you're pretty well off. That tax, the idea of that tax rate is doesn't sound right to me. Now, bringing up the corporate tax rate and also taxing corporations' foreign earnings, all that's going to do is create inflation, because all they're going to do is put that bill onto the consumer. That's middle class, poor people are going to be paying most of that. They're not hurting the corporations. They're actually hurting people. And the other thing is some of these corporations will just decide to leave. I mean, look what Ford did in Ohio. They decided to move a $90 million job to Mexico because it's cheaper labor. And now they're going to raise corporate taxes and foreign earnings. More companies are going to be moving out of the states at that point. Not only that, any taxes they have to pay for anything that was built out of the country, all they're going to do is just put it on to the consumer so they can still make the same amount of money as they did before. So their CEOs and guys like that are making millions of dollars of bonuses. It's not going to change anything. And in this next part, they have the bill separated in sections on where the money's going to be going to. $621 billion to modernize transportation infrastructure and $400 billion to help care for the aging and those with disabilities, $300 billion to boost the manufacturing industry, $213 billion on retrofitting and building affordable housing, and $100 billion to expand broadband access. Now, I want to take a look at this part of the bill and pick it apart. $621 billion to modernize transportation infrastructure. Okay, I actually agree with that. That's fine. But $400 billion to help take care of aging and those with disabilities? What does that have to do with infrastructure? Can someone tell me that? Because I don't see what that has anything to do with infrastructure. That should be on a different kind of bill. And $300 billion to boost manufacturing industry? It sounds like the government's going to be picking losers and winners on that one. That sounds like almost like fascism to me. If government's going to be, I guarantee you what government's going to be picking is, especially with Joe Biden in charge of it, it's going to be picking green energy sources instead of, he's not going to go to CAT and give them a lot of money, or to John Deere. He's more likely to go to Solyndra or one of those companies that make green energy products. $200 billion to retrofit buildings affordable housing. That's fine. That actually sounds like infrastructure. And $100 billion to expand broadband access. Sounds like infrastructure too. Okay. So my two gripes are the $400 billion one, because I don't see what that has to do with infrastructure helping aging and disability people in this bill. What that has to do with infrastructure. I just don't see it. And then the $300 billion to boost manufacturing industry. Who's getting the boost? Is it going to be generalized to any kind of manufacturing, or is it going to be just generalized to green energy manufacturing? You're picking winners and losers in that. That would be pretty much akin to fascism, wouldn't it be? Now, the next part of the bill I want to take a look at is what the money is for specifically. Modernizing 20,000 miles of roadways, build 500,000 electrical vehicle charging stations, replacing the country's existing lead pipes and service lines, repairing aging schools, expanding home care for the elderly and disabled, investing billions of dollars in domestic semiconductor manufacturing. Okay, first thing about it, 20,000 miles of roadways, I actually agree with, but you know how many roadways there are in the United States? Way more than 20,000. And then when it comes to highways, they definitely need to be modernized. It would help truckers. It would help it would help the consumer to get one from one place to another. I mean, they're in awful shape. And then when building 500,000 electrical vehicle charging stations, the market will do that for you. The more electric cars people are going to get, the more gas stations are going to put those in. But the problem is they don't hold a charge long enough for you to be taking them to like states like Montana, Wyoming, all the way out east, because things are spaced out more. Where electric cars workers are in cities, because you're close to everything, until they're able to actually make it where it can hold a charge longer, make better batteries pretty much. I don't really think federal government should be building that. Replacing lead pipes and service lines. That makes sense. Those definitely need to be changed out and put in some newer lines. I'm for that. Repairing schools. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of these schools are in bad shape. Expanding home care for elderly and disabled. I don't know what that has to do with infrastructure. I know it sounds cold and everything, but that has nothing to do with infrastructure. That should be in a completely different bill, in its own bill, really. And investing billions of dollars into domestic semiconductor manufacturing. Now, my problem with this is that's corporate welfare. I'm not for that. I mean, I'm not for it no matter what. Anywhere from oil and gas to green energy. They shouldn't be getting any kind of money from the federal government when it comes to that. That's ripe for corruption. And this is no different. And here comes the big lofty goal: to eliminate carbon emissions from power grid by 2035. There it is, right there. That's the point of this infrastructure bill. Go completely green. Even though green energy isn't where it needs to be to do that with. I mean, you're going to have the same issue you have in California, rolling blackouts, because the grid's not going to be able to handle it, because there's not going to be enough power using solar and wind. You're going to have to use other stuff other than that. I'm not advocating using natural gas and coal and oil. You could use nuclear, geothermal. That's green energy right there. But a lot of people don't want to use nuclear because nuclear plants can have accidents. Okay, we'll see your idea. And they don't want to use geothermal or use hydroelectrical dams because of aesthetics. Hurts nature. Pretty much what these green energy types want you to do is go back to the Stone Age. All right, it's time to give my opinion. I think this bill, half of it is good. I think the other half is just a waste of money. It's just a Green New Deal into an infrastructure bill. That's all it is. They want to change the economy and change how we get energy. And they think this is the way to do it. The problem is there's a lot of things I didn't see in this bill, such as fixing water plants, fixing the security on the electric grids. So China, Russia, and North Korea, or any other place like that can't get in there and turn off our electric grid. I didn't see anything about that. Just looks like to me, the only thing they're concerned about this bill is going completely green, and that is it. They're not concerned with security issues. They're not concerned with clean water. And they're certainly not concerned about poor people not being able to afford energy if they go to green energy, because green energy is going to cost more than coal, natural gas, and oil. For the unseeable future, it will. And the reason is because it can't hold a charge. So cost to demand is going to raise the prices. In my opinion, this bill's another one of those bills that they're going to have to get rid of the filibuster to actually get passed. Or they're going to have to just revamp the whole damn thing. And I still don't think it'll get passed, because if it is revamped and changed completely where it's not green energy, first thing, I don't see it getting out of the House. And number two, I don't see Joe Biden signing it. In my opinion, it'd make more sense to put this money into water plants, electric grid, highways and roads, bridges, stuff like that. Or even as well as the border wall. The reason I mention the border wall is because this is going to define Joe Biden's term, in my opinion. First thing, I don't see Democrats winning the 22 election when it comes to Senate and House. I think they're going to lose both chambers because of this issue particularly. They have done nothing to change it, and it's just getting worse down there. Now, when summer hits, it might actually go down because of the heat. The way they're coming across, I have no idea if that's going to happen. But building a border wall will actually help change the trajectory of his administration and make it possible for the Democrats to win in 2024. Well, guys, that's my analysis of the bill. Hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, I don't know what to tell you. But please come back and hit subscribe and like. Helps the channel grow. Peace.